Every day, I trained like crazy, casting fireballs millions of times, yet I couldn't even light a single mosquito coil. Even the mosquitoes in my room mocked me for being a total loser. And my classmates? They jokingly called me the weakest mage in history. But what they didn't know was that I had secretly awakened the triple S rank talent, gift of the gods. I literally earn 1 skill point every single second, while others barely scrape together a single digit of skill points from clearing a whole dungeon. I get them for free, every single second. Because of this, any basic spell in my hands can be upgraded into an apocalyptic, forbidden curse. During the awakening ceremony, the school idol, Zhang Ya, whom I had always completely outshined, actually awakened the rare class, Psychic, and she even acquired the high-tier skill, Telekinesis. As for me, I only awakened the most incredibly basic class, Fire Mage, along with the starter skill, Fireball, level 1. But just as everyone was laughing at me, a completely different voice suddenly echoed in my mind. Congratulations, you have awakened the triple S rank talent, gift of the gods. You will now receive 1 skill point per second. As your experience and power grow, even more features of this talent will gradually unlock. Hearing that, I completely froze, and silently did the math in my head. I wouldn't need to grind any dungeons or complete a single quest. Just by going AFK, I could passively earn 86,400 skill points in just 1 day. This meant that whenever I got a new skill, it would only take me a single day to max it out to the highest level, or even reach the absolute cap. Meanwhile, down below the stage, the massive crowd started gossiping. The top student in our grade got stuck with a common class? Man, I just love watching a genius fall from grace. Just look at his face. He definitely can't handle the blow. He's totally going to fade into a nobody. At that moment, even the school idol, Zhang Ya, looked at me with a hint of pity. Hearing all this, I was a bit stunned. Seriously? Couldn't they tell I was practically shaking with excitement? I decided to get out of there immediately. Otherwise, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to hold back my bursting laughter. With a talent like this, a seriously crazy plan started forming in my mind. First things first, max out my fireball skill, because in exactly 1 month, the Great Sha Nation will hold its annual National College Entrance Exam for awakened professionals. For the next 7 days, I completely locked myself inside my house. I didn't go anywhere, just staring at my balance of over 600,000 skill points. I couldn't help but take a deep breath. Then, I opened up the skill panel for Fireball, and started dumping points into it like an absolute madman. The Fireball icon on the panel kept flashing over and over with the blinding light of leveling up. Finally, the system chime rang out. Congratulations, you have upgraded Fireball to max level. You see, because Fireball is the absolute lowest tier skill for a Fire Mage. No sensible mage would ever waste their time leveling it up this high. If they had the skill points, it would be way better to spend them on higher tier skills. But hey, I am built totally different. I have an endless, infinite supply of skill points. Every single skill I own is going straight to the absolute max. It's time to let this world experience the terrifying power of a forbidden curse level Fireball. But wait, after maxing out the Fireball skill, the casting time suddenly shot up to 20 seconds. Worse yet, the cooldown time was a whopping 2 hours. And on top of that, every single time I cast it, it would drain exactly 30,000 mana points. Are you kidding me? I'm still just a level 1 rookie. I only have a measly 100 mana points. There's absolutely no way I could cast this thing right now. I thought about it for a moment, then shifted my gaze to 2 other universal mage skills. Mana Conservation and Quick Chant. They can respectively reduce the casting cost by 10%. And the chant time, I quickly shifted my focus and started dumping points into these 2 skills instead. I leveled them up like crazy. You have consumed a total of 352,530 skill points. Congratulations, you have acquired the newly evolved skills, Mana Storm, and Divine Eternal Chant. Oh yeah, it's finally here. Say hello to instant cast spells, baby. 0 mana cost and instant casting. Now that's a combo to get the blood pumping. After that, I headed out and bought a ton of food and water. I tossed it all into the spatial inventory from my awakened talent. Everything was ready to go. I made my way to the outskirts, completely bypassing the beginner zone, Breeze Grassland. It was a popular leveling spot, but I headed straight for the higher tier area, the Monster Forest. The monsters in this forest were generally above level 10, and all of them were bloodthirsty and ruthless. They would attack on sight. Suddenly, I heard a sickening rustle from right above my head. I spun around, and saw a massive python staring daggers at me. In the next second, it lunged with its jaws wide open. With a single thought, I readied a skill to one-shot the beast. But right at that split second, a very familiar wave of scorching heat surged from behind me. A moment later, a fireball slammed right into the python's head. The python hissed in pain, its aggro shifting instantly. It coiled up and launched itself viciously toward the source of the attack. But then, an even larger fireball came crashing down. With a massive boom, the python was scorched black. Its enormous body twitched once. And then it went completely still. Only then did I see where those two fireballs came from. It was a young man, accompanied by a middle-aged mage in a gray robe. "Uncle Shu, how did I do just now?" "Young master, your fireball was highly accurate. If you keep practicing, you'll soon be able to solo this monster forest. And level up with ease." Without that gray-robed mage secretly helping him behind the scenes, that arrogant kid would have definitely ended up as snake food. There was no way he could strut around the monster forest with just a level 3 fireball spell. Puffed up by the praise, the young man looked even more smug and lifted his chin at me. "I just saved your life. Aren't you going to thank me?" I frowned slightly. "Why did you steal my kill?" Because of the level difference, he could tell at a glance that I was only level 1. In his eyes, a complete noob like me wandering this forest was practically asking for a death wish. Yet here I was, acting so arrogant. But before he could respond, the gray-robed mage beside him spoke up. "Young man, I can see your level isn't very high. This leveling zone is extremely dangerous. You should leave as soon as possible." With that, he turned and led the boy away. Even though I was pissed about having my kill stolen, I decided to let it slide since they were just trying to warn me. As I ventured deeper into the forest, the monsters became much more dense. Suddenly, 7 or 8 giant pythons slithered out from the canopy. I softly muttered, "Pyroblast." In an instant, over a dozen terrifying, basin-sized fireballs materialized. They slammed right into the pythons. All the fire magic in the air only needed a single thought from me to completely wipe out these high-level monsters. "Congratulations, you have reached level 2. Right after that, a burst of white light enveloped my body. I had successfully leveled up. I took my 10 free stat points and dumped them all into my spirit stat. My maximum mana shot up by another 1000 points. But looking at my measly 110 HP, I still didn't feel very safe. However, I already had a plan for this exact problem. I soon found a towering cliff edge, completely free of any monsters. I stood my ground and gazed out into the distance. Deep inside the forest, there are countless monster lairs and gathering spots. That place is a forbidden zone for humanity. It's time to let the monster forest experience the true beauty of a forbidden spell. Return to the primordial flames, the ultimate burst of fire. Explosion. My interface was flooded with experience gain notifications. A blinding white light flashed over me, 9 times in a row. "Congratulations, you have reached level 10. Please head to the class transfer hall to receive your advancement quest. Please head to the class transfer hall to receive your advancement quest. Please head, excess experience has been safely stored for you." Meanwhile, the school beauty, Zhang Ya, was also grinding levels in the monster forest. Relying on her lethal abilities as a psychokinetic, her leveling speed had actually left her peers completely in the dust. Zhang Ya used her telekinesis to knock out a forest grizzly, then swiftly followed up with a psychic blade to finish the job. But that completely drained her mana, so she sat down and drank a mana potion, letting her magical energy slowly recover. While resting, her mind drifted to the face of that boy who had completely overshadowed her for 3 long years. That frustrating, unforgettable face. What is Ling Chen even doing right now? Is he really just going to give up and fade away like this? Just as she was lost in thought, a deafening explosion echoed from the distance. Zhang Ya quickly looked up, only to see a massive pillar of fire shooting straight into the sky. The forest suddenly went completely crazy. The endless roars of countless beasts filled the air. The entire ground felt like it was shaking. Zhang Ya was absolutely dumbfounded. How could a tiny beginner's area in Zhong City suddenly trigger a monster stampede? Just what exactly terrified these monsters so much that they'd blindly flee for their lives like this? Run, I have to run. That was the only survival instinct left in Zhang Ya's mind. Thankfully, she could use her telekinesis to push herself forward at incredibly high speeds, barely dodging the panicking, fleeing beasts. But right at that moment, blaring regional alarms echoed throughout the entire monster forest. The Zhong City Monster Disaster Early Warning Center announces, 2 minor monster stampedes have been detected. A massive explosion of unknown magnitude has occurred behind the swarm. Suspected forbidden tier magic. All awakened professionals currently within or near the monster forest perimeters, please evacuate immediately. The current threat level is Class 2. All relevant personnel must evacuate immediately. Zhang Ya's face went completely pale. A Class 2 threat. She had only ever read about those in textbooks. It meant pure, destructive danger. A terrifying monster invasion that could wipe out all of Zhong City was about to happen. Meanwhile, at the border between the Whispering Breeze grasslands and the monster forest, countless awakened military forces stood in strict formation. The moment the stampede broke past the borders of the monster forest, they would launch a full-scale assault together. As for me, hearing those regional alarms blaring, I suddenly realized that I might have accidentally caused a little bit of trouble for the city. Quickly calculating the distance, I aimed right at the path of the incoming stampede and reached out my right hand to chant another spell. The monsters were desperately fleeing toward the city. Suddenly, a massive fireball plummeted from the sky, detonating right in the center of the horde. It instantly vaporized the majority of the monsters. Blocked by the raging wall of fire, the surviving beasts instantly panicked, turning around and frantically fleeing toward the other side of the forest. However, because I slightly miscalculated the spell's sheer power, the explosive shockwaves and flames partially surged straight toward the heavily armed military forces stationed at the forest's edge. Just then, an incredibly ordinary-looking chubby guy in their ranks made a move. In his hands, a staff glowing with holy white light materialized. Immediately after, a massive golden shield flared to life, completely enveloping the frontline defenders. Countless waves of scorching heat and raging flames crashed heavily against the golden shield. The terrifyingly high temperatures, the shield was melting away in a flash. Fatty Duan frantically threw up another layer of holy light. It barely saved the lives of the adventurers. Such a terrifying attack. How the hell are we supposed to stop that? Duan wiped the cold sweat from his forehead, his face completely pale with fear. Just then, an incredibly ancient voice echoed from the sky. Everyone, stand down. The crisis is over. Do not set a single foot into the forest. Hearing the old man's voice, the crowd's faces lit up with relief. This man was the true powerhouse of Zhong City, the president of the Adventurers Guild. Grand Mage Zhang Taishu. Listen up, everyone. Do exactly as Elder Zhang says. Paladin Commander Wang Teng quickly barked orders to his men. Sure enough, not a single monster charged out of the forest after that. The deadly explosions had also stopped. The terrifying crisis was finally over. Every single adventurer let out a massive sigh of relief. Zhang Taishu descended from the sky on a Pegasus, his deep gaze locked onto the heart of the forest. His eyes were filled with absolute awe and reverence. Elder Zhang, do you know what actually happened? Fatty Duan asked, still trembling. That explosion just now, it must have been the magic of an archmage. They completely wiped out the monster horde for us. Zhang Taishu replied, his voice full of emotion. Duan and Wang Teng both froze in shock. Are you saying, an actual archmage has graced our Zhong City? Decades ago, I had the honor of studying at the Pantheon. My mentor back then was an archmage. That was the only time I ever saw a spell with that kind of devastating power. It is the ultimate dream of every single mage. Sadly, I'll probably never reach that level. A hint of deep regret flashed across Zhang Taishu's face. He secretly made up his mind. He had to find a way to meet this legendary senior. Meanwhile, I had just crushed a teleportation scroll, heading back to Zhong City. As the blinding white light of the scroll faded away, I found myself standing in the city's teleportation hall. I still reeked faintly of sulfur, and the edges of my clothes were a bit scorched from the extreme heat. But absolutely no one would connect this ordinary-looking teenager with the archmage who had just nearly obliterated half the monster forest. I dusted myself off and walked straight into the awakening sanctuary. It was mid-morning, and the main hall was packed with people. Most of them were fresh awoken, registering their new classes with their parents hovering nearby. "Oh, hey, if it isn't Lin Chen, the weakest mage in history." A mocking voice sneered. I looked up. It was Zhao Lei from my class. He had just awakened the rare berserker class. So he was practically the king of the school right now, flanked by his little group of lackeys. "Shouldn't you be at home crying your eyes out? What the hell are you doing here? Don't tell me you're trying to re-roll your class? A bit late for that, buddy." Zhao Lei crossed his arms, smirking like an idiot. "I'm already level 5. In just a few days, I'll be taking my class advancement quest." Unlike some losers, who probably haven't even leveled up once, people around us started turning their heads, recognizing me as the biggest joke from the awakening ceremony. Snickers rippled through the crowd. I honestly couldn't be bothered with his nonsense. I walked straight past him to the advancement counter and handed over my class badge. "Level 10 class advancement, please." The clerk at the counter just stared at me. He took the badge and scanned it. The moment the info flashed on his screen, he shot up from his seat. His chair screeched loudly against the floor. "Lin Chen, class, Mage, level 10, experience points overflowing, requirements met for advancement to junior mage." The staff member's voice trembled as it echoed throughout the entire hall. Everyone lost their minds. Reaching level 10 in just 7 days? How is that even possible? Even Zhang Ya, the campus idol, who awakened a top-tier class like Spirit Telepath, is only at level 8 right now. Isn't he just the weakest fire mage? How did he level up so incredibly fast? Zhao Lei's face turned deathly pale as he took a step back, muttering, "Impossible. Absolutely impossible. You definitely cheated." At the class advancement window, I completely ignored him, just waiting for the staff to process my paperwork. Once the paperwork was done, the staff member pointed toward the staircase and said, "All advancing professionals just need to head up to the Heart of Advancement room on the 2nd floor. Touch the Heart of Advancement, and the system will evaluate your soul strength and your class compatibility to generate your exclusive advancement quest. Once completed, come back here to submit the proof, and you will officially advance." At the end of the 2nd floor corridor, there was a bronze door engraved with complex runes. That was where the Heart of Advancement was kept. Generally speaking, ordinary professionals would generate a rank C quest, while those with slightly better talent would get a rank B. A rank A quest was already a once-in-a-century occurrence in Zhangcheng. I pushed open the bronze door. The room was pitch black, with only a fist-sized crystal ball floating right in the center, radiating a soft, white glow. That was the Heart of Advancement. It gave off faint ripples of soul energy, capable of resonating with the soul of the advancer. I walked up slowly, reaching out my right hand to gently press against it. An icy sensation spread through my fingertips, and in the next second, countless pieces of information flooded my mind. Ding! Soul binding successful. Now analyzing class compatibility. Class detected. Mage Apprentice. Generating exclusive advancement quest. Rank S. Subjugate the level 30 world boss, Undead Knight Cain. Quest requirements. Form a party of 5 people or fewer to slay Undead Knight Cain and retrieve his fallen knight badge. Time limit, 24 hours. I stood there, stunned for a moment. Rank S difficulty? Is that it? Is that seriously it? A level 30 boss? One blast from an exploding fireball, and there won't even be ashes left of him. This quest even allows a 5-person party? This is way too insulting to a walking cheat code like me. After accepting the quest, I walked out of the class transfer sanctuary and headed straight for the teleportation hall. Destination: Black Wind Fortress. Just as I was about to crush the teleportation scroll. Lin Chen, wait up. I turned around. It was Su Qing. She was wearing a white priestess robe, clutching a holy light staff in her hands, running over completely out of breath. "What's up, Su Qing? I'm coming with you to do the quest." Su Qing looked up, staring right at me with eyes full of sheer determination. "I'm a healer. I can restore your health. Having one more person means having one more layer of safety." I froze for a second. "No need. My quest is a little special. I can handle it on my own. I know you just don't want to drag me down." Su Qing bit her lip. "But everyone is making fun of you. I don't want you going out there to risk your life all by yourself, even if your quest is only rank C." Looking into her earnest eyes, I stayed silent for a moment. Anyway, to me, this S-rank quest is no different from a C-rank quest. Taking her along wouldn't hurt. Alright, but you have to promise me, the second we run into danger, you crush your teleport scroll and get out. Okay, I promise. Su Qing immediately beamed with joy. Half an hour later, Su Qing and I arrived at the Black Wind Fortress. It used to be a bustling military stronghold, but 100 years ago, it fell to the undead army. Now, it's nothing but a creepy, terrifying city of death. The ruined walls were covered in creeping vines. Every so often, undead knights on phantom warhorses would patrol the fortress, their hooves echoing with a bone-chilling clatter. Su Qing shadowed me closely, gripping her holy light staff tightly. As she glanced around nervously, Lin Chen, what exactly is your target? It looks so dangerous here. Are we going to run into high-level monsters? I replied calmly, nothing much. Just need to kill a knight. A knight? Su Qing breathed a sigh of relief. Oh, so it's just a knight. That's not too bad. If we're careful, we should be fine. She clearly thought my target was just a regular, level 10 skeleton knight. I didn't bother explaining, I just led her straight into the fortress. The moment we stepped through the gates, 3 level 15 knights spotted us. Waving their long blades, they charged right at us on their undead warhorses. Ah, watch out, Su Qing shrieked in panic. She hastily raised her staff, getting ready to cast holy light. I raised a hand to stop her. No need, no chanting, no hand gestures. The very next second, 3 fireballs materialized out of thin air, slamming directly into the knights' heads. After 3 massive explosions, the skeleton knights and their phantom steeds were instantly reduced to 3 piles of ashes. Su Qing's eyes went wide. She was so shocked she couldn't even speak. She had expected a bitter, drawn-out fight. She never imagined that Lin Chen would instantly one-shot 3 skeleton knights that were even higher leveled than us. I still didn't explain, and just kept walking forward. Every single undead monster we ran into along the way was wiped out with a casual flick of a fireball. Not a single monster could last even a single second against me. Following behind me, Su Qing went from initial shock to total numbness, and finally, pure awe. She finally realized that Lin Chen was far from being the weakest mage. He had been hiding his true strength the entire time. 20 minutes later, we reached the main hall of the castle, deep inside the fortress. Right in the middle of the hall stood a knight clad in pitch-black iron armor. He wore a heavy, fully enclosed helmet, revealing nothing but a pair of eyes burning with eerie green flames. He wielded a massive, 2-meter-long corrupted greatsword, and sat atop a skeletal warhorse entirely engulfed in hellfire. It was the level 30 world boss, the undead knight, Kane. Seeing us walk in, Kane slowly lifted his head. A bone-chilling, freezing aura of death instantly swept across the entire hall. Su Qing's face went deathly pale in a split second, her body trembling completely out of control. This isn't a skeleton knight. This is the undead knight, Kane, the legendary level 30 world boss. She finally understood what Lin Chen meant by taking down a knight. Lin Chen, we gotta run. Su Qing cried out, tugging at my arm. I gently patted her hand and whispered, don't be scared. Just stand behind me, it'll be over in a flash. Kane suddenly rose to his feet. The skeletal warhorse beneath him let out a blood-curdling shriek. Pitiful humans, how dare you trespass upon my resting place? Kane's voice was raspy and ice-cold, echoing like it came from the depths of hell itself. He hoisted his massive, corrupted sword, dark energy swirling around the blade. With apocalyptic fury, he brought it crashing down right toward us. Su Qing squeezed her eyes shut in terror. I gently pulled her behind me, and then, I slowly raised my right hand. In the next second, golden flames erupted into the sky. The heat instantly spiked to thousands of degrees. Kane's supposedly indestructible dark iron armor began melting and dripping right before our eyes. Neither Kane nor his skeletal steed even had the chance to let out a single scream. They were completely incinerated into a pile of ash. In just 2 seconds, all that was left on the ground was a glowing dark badge, the fallen knight's emblem, and a pitch-black knight's sword. I casually strolled over, picked up the emblem, and tossed the sword right into my spatial inventory. Then, I turned back around, looked at Su Qing, who still had her eyes squeezed tight, and said calmly, all done. Quest complete. Su Qing slowly fluttered her eyes open when she saw the completely empty hall and the emblem in my hand. She absolutely froze. Her eyelashes fluttered in disbelief. Her gaze slowly shifted from the pile of smoking ash on the floor to my hand. Staring right at the glowing fallen knight's emblem, her head snapped up to look at me. Her lips trembled for a solid minute before she choked out, 2 seconds. You killed Cain in 2 seconds? Her voice was still violently shaking. But not out of fear, she was just completely blown away. In the entire Great Sha Nation, anyone who could solo a level 30 world boss had to be at least a tier 4 professional. And yet, just 7 days ago, I was nothing but a level 1 fire mage apprentice that everyone laughed at. I shoved the emblem into my pocket and gave her shoulder a light tap. Told you it'd be over in a flash. Come on, let's go turn in the quest. Snapping out of her daze, Su Qing hurriedly scrambled to keep up with me. She was looking at me with literal stars in her eyes. On the way back, she wouldn't stop chattering, firing off question after question. Going from, what level are you, seriously? All the way to, why on earth is your fireball so insanely overpowered? I just casually brushed them off with vague answers. It wasn't like I could tell her that I was passively gaining skill points every single second. I crushed the teleportation scroll in my hand. A blinding white light flashed, and we were back at the Zhangcheng class transfer sanctuary. The hall was even more packed than before. Shockingly, Zhao Lei and his little gang were still hanging around. They were huddled together in a circle, obnoxiously bragging. He was boasting about how many wild wolves he had just slaughtered in the breezy plains, loudly claiming he'd finish his advancement quest in just 3 days. The moment he spotted us coming back, Zhao Lei let out a massive, mocking sneer. He strutted over, chin held high. Well, scurrying back with your tails between your legs already? I honestly thought you'd be sitting outside the Black Wind Fortress, bawling your eyes out and begging someone to carry you. What, couldn't even snag a C rank quest? Let me guess, you just killed a couple of bottom-tier grunts to pretend you did something. His lackeys burst into laughter too, their voices incredibly grating. Su Qing's face turned red with anger. Just as she was about to snap back, I gently pulled her back and shook my head. There's no need. Exposing our strength now will only invite unnecessary trouble. The National College entrance exam a month from now is my real stage. I bypassed Zhao Lei and walked straight toward the stairs. I pushed open the bronze door engraved with complex runes. Inside the room, there was still only the heart of advancement floating in the center. I reached out and placed the Fallen Knight badge onto it. The ice-cold crystal instantly erupted with dazzling golden light, and the badge turned into a streak of black light. It was completely absorbed by the heart of advancement. Ding! S-rank advancement quest completed. Class advancement to Junior Mage. All attributes increased by 20. Mana increased by 2000. Remaining experience has been automatically converted into levels. Current level, 20. You have gained 100 free attribute points. I casually dumped all 100 points into the spirit attribute. My max mana reached 25,000. Now, even without the zero-cost buff, I could cast a max-level fireball twice in a row. Just then, the notification sound in my head continued. Your SSS rank talent, Gift of the Gods, has unlocked a new feature. I didn't keep looking, but instead walked out of the bronze door. Su Qing was still waiting at the entrance. Waiting to check the new feature when I got home wouldn't be too late. This way, no one will know you completed the S-rank quest. I nodded. Except for you, no one knows. Su Qing's face instantly flushed, and she tightly gripped her holy light staff. Don't worry, Lin Chen. I swear I absolutely won't tell anyone about this. I smiled. Honestly, even if she did tell people, no one would believe it. A level 10 fire mage, solo killing a level 30 world boss? If that got out, I'd just be treated as a madman. On our way downstairs, we happened to run into Zhang Ya. She had just come back from outside, still carrying a faint scent of blood on her. Clearly, she had just finished leveling. Seeing Su Qing and me coming down from the second floor together, she froze for a moment, then her gaze landed on me. There was a hint of imperceptible complexity in her eyes. Lin Chen, you came to get your advancement quest? Yeah, I replied softly. You leveled up so fast. I just hit level 10 too. Zhang Ya showed a faint smile. I knew it, you wouldn't just give up that easily. Even though it's just a C-rank quest, as long as you take it slow, you can definitely catch up to everyone. She obviously thought that I took the easiest C-rank quest. After all, the most ordinary mage class has always been like this. Su Qing stood beside me, pursing her lips, holding it in until her face turned bright red, but she still kept our promise. Not saying a single word, Zhang Ya gave me a look. and said softly, "The college entrance prelims are in a month. Good luck, I'll be waiting for you in the finals." After saying that, she turned and walked up to the second floor to receive her own advancement quest. I didn't say anything. Between Zhang Ya and me, it was never a question of catching up or not. From the moment I awakened the gift of the gods, we were no longer in the same world. Leaving the class transfer sanctuary, I took Su Qing home first. When we parted ways, Su Qing kept reminding me over and over again to be extra careful around Zhao Lei, saying he might play dirty tricks during the qualifiers. I just smiled and nodded. Dirty tricks? In the face of absolute power, any little scheme is nothing but a joke. For the next half month, I plan to just stay home every day and idle to rack up skill points. But right now, I need to check on how my talent has changed. After walking Su Qing home, I headed back to my place alone and locked the door tight. Sitting cross-legged, I couldn't wait to pull up the talent panel in my mind. The once plain-looking gift of the gods was now glowing with faint, golden, flowing patterns. The light was deep and intense, completely different from its simple look before. SSS rank talent, gift of the gods, tier 1 advancement. Basic effect, automatically gain 1 skill point per second. Newly unlocked effect, store of the gods, spend skill points to redeem all types of magic, skills, magic scrolls, and elemental affinity items. Store items will gradually unlock as the talent ranks up. Looking at those new words, store of the gods, on my panel, my eyes instantly lit up. I was just wondering about selling that knight's greatsword dropped by the undead knight to get some gold coins for magic skill books. But to my surprise, my talent gave me a direct shortcut. No need to bother buying them at the Professionals Alliance. No need to grind dungeons for skill book drops either. As long as I have skill points, I can just buy every type of magic. This perk is practically tailor-made for me. With a thought, a virtual store interface immediately popped up right in front of my eyes. The categories were super clear. Fire magic, wind magic, earth magic, lightning magic, light magic, dark magic, spatial magic, and general support magic. 8 major categories in total. Under each one, it listed the skill level and the required skill points. Now, it's time to carefully pick out my skill loadout. In the blink of an eye, 15 days passed. My skill point balance had jumped to over 1,450,000. I learned my chosen skills one by one, and upgraded them all straight to max level. Once that was done, a deep understanding of all that magic instantly flooded into my mind. It felt so natural, as if I had been training hard for over a decade. Because of the massive rush of knowledge, I collapsed limply onto my bed, staring blankly into space. Elemental affinity, max level. All elemental magic damage permanently increased by 100%. Undying magic body, max level. Automatically triggers undying magic soul when near death. Mana spring, max level. Base mana cap permanently doubled. All-seeing eye appraisal skill, max level advanced. Can appraise any living creature, as long as they aren't more than 3 major tiers above me. During these past 15 days, Zhangcheng hasn't exactly been peaceful either. Zhang Taishu is still frantically searching for that mysterious Grand Magus. He even mobilized all the forces of the Professionals Alliance, turning the demonic beast forest completely upside down. Yet, they still came up completely empty-handed. Duan De and Wang Teng also bring up that beast tide and the forbidden curse level explosion quite often. Every time they do, they look so full of awe. Guessing that the Grand Magus had already left Zhangcheng, heading for the imperial capital or some other major city. Su Qing occasionally texted me, asking if I was properly grinding my levels, or if Zhao Lei had been bullying me. I replied to every single message, telling her not to worry. Zhang Ya sent me an update too. He finished his advancement quest, and officially upgraded his class to a junior spirit esper. He reached level 13, and his spiritual power got a massive boost. His telekinetic control is way stronger now, too. He even went out of his way to send me a text. He encouraged me to work hard, so we could fight side by side when the college entrance exams came around. I just gave him a simple "I will" and left it at that. I knew it, Zhang still saw me as someone desperately trying to catch up to him. A washed-up former genius. He had no idea, my current strength had already gone way beyond anything he could ever imagine. Crushing the teleportation talisman, I arrived at the Zhangcheng teleportation hall, then turned and headed straight into the class advancement sanctuary. The hall was bustling with people as usual, but the air felt noticeably heavier today. A lot of class holders were rushing about, whispering anxiously among themselves. Panic was written all over their faces. Just as I walked up to the advancement counter, I overheard the staff gossiping. What they said made me raise an eyebrow. Did you hear? The Blackstone Guild tried to lock down the area. They took over the earth-rending demonic dragon's spawn point. They wanted to monopolize the boss drops. But that level 50 Drake actually mutated into a level 70 boss. It gets worse. I just got the news. The Blackstone Guild suffered heavy casualties. Even their guild master went down. More than 80% of them died. The survivors barely fought their way out with severe injuries. Right now, they are still at the Blackstone Guild headquarters, receiving emergency medical treatment. The earth-rending demonic dragon is a terrestrial drake to begin with, so its armor is incredibly thick. Now that it's mutated, it's absolutely terrifying. I heard no one could survive even a single swipe of its claws. Nobody in Zhangcheng dares to go anywhere near that mutated boss now. I didn't stick around to hear more. I headed straight up to the second floor and pushed open the heavy bronze doors, which were engraved with complex runes. I reached out and touched the heart of advancement. Ding! S-rank advancement quest triggered. Objective: defeat the level 70 mutated world boss, the earth-rending demonic dragon. Species: Drake. Quest requirement: slay the mutated earth-rending demonic dragon with a party of 5 or fewer. Quest hint: the mutated earth-rending demonic dragon is a terrestrial drake and cannot fly. It possesses incredibly high defense. A glint of realization flashed in my eyes. So, my next advancement quest just happens to be this exact mutated dragon. Perfect. I've been in closed-door training for 15 days. It's about time I found a decent opponent to test out my new strength. Without a second thought, I turned on my heel and left the class advancement sanctuary. I crushed a teleportation scroll for Blackstone City. As soon as I walked out of their teleportation hall, I immediately cast the Tier 5 wind spell, Wind Wings. Behind my back, a pair of shimmering wind wings materialized, and I flew rapidly toward the dragon's spawn point in Blackstone Canyon. Down in the desolate canyon, the air was thick with the heavy stench of blood and the foul reek of dragon saliva. The ground was torn up, covered in massive claw marks and deep, jagged fissures. Shattered armor, broken weapons, and cold, lifeless bodies were scattered everywhere. They were all members of the Blackstone Guild. Not far away, right in the center of the canyon, a colossal beast crouched on the ground. A swirling, grayish-black demonic aura radiated from its entire body. Its dark brown scales gleamed with a cold, metallic luster. Its limbs were as thick as pillars, and every breath it took sounded like a low, menacing roar, making the ground tremble slightly. Its massive head turned, highly corrosive saliva dripping from its jaws, and its eyes glowing a blood-red hue. This was it, the mutated earth-rending demonic dragon. I spread my wind wings, hovering slowly until I was dozens of meters right above the beast. Channeling a trace of mana into my eyes, I instantly activated my max-level appraisal skill, the all-seeing eye. A faint blue glow swept over the dragon's massive frame, and its stat panel instantly popped up in my mind. Boss name: Mutated Earth-Rending Dragon, level 70. Skills: Earth Shatter, Dragon Roar, Corrosive Breath. Seismic Stomp, Special Mechanics. Max damage taken per hit is capped at 10,000 points. Immune to all crowd control skills. I gave a slight nod. 10 million health, regenerating 5,000 per second. Single hit damage capped at 10,000. No wonder the Blackstone Guild took such heavy losses. To kill this thing, you have to maintain a barrage of high-frequency, non-stop attacks to keep its health dropping. Otherwise, even dealing 10,000 damage a second would barely cancel out its regeneration. It would be completely impossible to take down. But, while this might be a dead end for anyone else, to me, it's just a piece of cake. Since it can't fly, the sky is my absolute domain. Down below, the mutated earth-rending dragon sensed the movement above and violently snapped its head up. Its crimson eyes locked onto me, unleashing a furious roar. Its massive front claws slammed brutally into the ground. Earth Shatter, activated. Massive fissures ripped through the earth, spreading wildly across the canyon floor. I smirked coldly, raising my hand toward the beast below, and launched the first strike. Max-level wind magic, Blade Storm, instantly unleashed. Countless razor-sharp blades of wind materialized, raining down on the dragon like a torrential storm. Each blade shrieked as it tore through the air, relentlessly battering the monster's scales. Clang, clang, clang. A chaotic barrage of impacts echoed out. Though the dragon's scales were incredibly tough, the sheer power of a max-level blade storm was nothing to scoff at. Every single hit was dealing nearly 3,000 damage. The dense flurry of wind blades just kept falling, striking dozens of times per second. It completely overwhelmed its regeneration speed instantly. Minus 2,987, minus 2,921, minus 2,783. A non-stop cascade of damage numbers exploded above the dragon's head. Its health bar plummeted right before my eyes. From 10 million, down to 8 million, 6 million, 4 million. The mutated earth-rending dragon was absolutely furious, roaring like a maniac. Its massive legs frantically stomped the ground. Seismic Stomp activated. The entire Black Stone Canyon shook violently, sending rubble flying everywhere. Then, it unhinged its jaws and blasted a pitch-black stream of corrosive breath straight at me. But with my wings of wind, I dodged it with ease. The toxic acid slammed into the ground, instantly melting massive, gaping craters into the rock. None of its attacks could even reach this high up. All it could do was thrash and roar in frustration, as its body was covered in more and more gashes. Its scales were being stripped away, and its dark blood drenched the earth below. Just then, a few battered figures stumbled into the canyon's entrance. It was the survivors of the Black Stone Guild, led by their vice guild master. He was covered in brutal injuries, his arm mangled and broken. Blood was still soaking through his messy bandages. When he looked up and saw me floating in the sky, and then saw the mutated earth-rending dragon dying on the ground below, he completely froze. His eyes were wide with pure, utter disbelief. Who is that kid up there? My god, the dragon's health is plummeting. His attack speed, it's insane. Our entire guild threw everything we had at that boss and couldn't even scratch it. And he's soloing it? He looks like he's barely a teenager. How does he have such terrifying power? Could he be some genius from a hidden elite family? The surviving guild members muttered to themselves, their faces pale with absolute awe. They just couldn't wrap their heads around it. How could this totally ordinary-looking kid, to think someone possesses such terrifying power, and no one could even recognize that? This is the exact same weakest mage in history that everyone in Zhong City used to mock. Lin Chen. I ignored the stares of the crowd gathered at the canyon's entrance. My focus remained locked onto the mutated earth-rending fiend dragon below. By now, the dragon's health had dropped below 1 million. Its health regeneration per second had long been completely suppressed by my high-frequency attacks. Its movements were growing more and more sluggish, and its roars had become terribly weak. The fierce red glow in its eyes was slowly fading away, and its life force was rapidly dwindling. Time to end this, I muttered softly. Raising my right hand, I gently snapped my fingers. With a deafening boom, a massive golden fireball plummeted from the sky. It completely engulfed the dragon, the scorching flames instantly swallowing its massive body whole. A charred smell filled the air. I guess you could say this mutated dragon got roasted right at the end. Ding! Congratulations on slaying the level 70 mutated world boss, Earth-Rending Fiend Dragon. Wyvern class defeated. Advancement quest completed. Please return to the heart of advancement. To submit your quest, I gave a slight wave of my hand. A gentle breeze swept up the dragon's crystal core from the ground, along with a few pieces of high-tier loot it had dropped. They slowly floated right in front of me, and I tucked them away into my spatial inventory. Just then, the vice guild leader of the Black Stone Guild rushed over with his surviving members, bowing to me with the utmost respect. His voice trembled with absolute awe and gratitude. Thank you, my lord, for stepping in and slaying this mutated dragon. You've saved all of Zhong City. Your greatness knows no bounds, my lord. The Black Stone Guild will never forget this. If you ever need anything from us in the future, we will give it our absolute all. The other survivors quickly followed suit, bowing deeply. Their eyes were filled with absolute worship. Not a single person there dared to question my power. The dragon is dead, look after yourselves, I said flatly, not wanting to waste any more breath. With that, I crushed a teleportation scroll. A flash of white light erupted, and I instantly vanished from the Blackstone Canyon, leaving behind a crowd of absolutely dumbfounded guild members. And the massive, charred corpse of the fiend dragon. As the teleportation light faded away, I found myself back at the Zhong City class transfer sanctuary. The chattering in the main hall hadn't stopped at all. Only now, the topic had completely shifted to the mutated dragon in the Blackstone Canyon. Everyone was frantically guessing who could have possibly slain that terrifying beast. Some claimed it was a hidden high-level class user, while others swore it was an absolute powerhouse from the imperial capital. A few even guessed it was backup called in by guild leader Zhang Taishu. But not a single soul could have ever guessed that the mysterious lord who slaughtered the mutated dragon was just a rookie who had been a mage for less than 1 month. The very same kid they had all laughed at, calling him the weakest mage in history. I walked straight up to the second floor and entered the Heart of Advancement room. I placed the dragon's crystal core onto the altar. Instantly, the ice-cold crystal erupted in a blinding golden light. The core was completely absorbed, and the system's notification chimed in my head once again. Ding! S-rank advancement quest completed. Class has been advanced to Ultimate Mage. All stats increased by 30. Mana increased by 5,000. Remaining experience points have automatically been converted to levels. Current level is now 30. 100 free attribute points acquired. A smirk curled onto my lips. I dumped all 100 free attribute points straight into spirit. My maximum mana instantly skyrocketed to 86,000 points. Looking at the shiny new stats on my panel, everything finally clicked into place. With my current strength, even if I go up against Zhangcheng's strongest, Zhang Taishu, I'd still be able to put up a good fight. Stepping out of the advancement star room, I didn't linger and headed straight downstairs to leave the class transfer sanctuary. There are only 15 days left until the National Professionals College entrance exam. Those who used to mock me and look down on me will soon be in the exam room, witnessing the true strength of the so-called weakest mage with their own eyes. After leaving the sanctuary, I didn't go straight home. Instead, I turned and headed to the Zhangcheng Professionals Alliance shop. Inside my inventory, I still had the Black Knight's sword dropped by Undead Knight Cain, along with the mutated earth-rending demonic dragons. Few pieces of high-tier equipment and some extra dragon scales. Keeping this stuff is useless to me. I might as well trade it all for Great Sha gold coins. The Alliance shop was pretty massive. The shelves were packed with all sorts of magical items, skill books, and gear. I walked straight up to the trade-in counter and told the clerk, I'm looking to sell some high-tier gear and boss drops. With a thought, I pulled out the Black Knight's sword, the dragon scales, 2 pieces of high-tier dragon armor, and a dragon bone staff, placing them right on the counter. The clerk's initially bored expression instantly turned dead serious when he saw the loot. He hurriedly grabbed a magnifying glass to inspect them closely, his fingers trembling slightly. This is a drop from the level 30 world boss, Undead Knight. And scales and a bone staff from a level 70 mutated earth-rending demonic dragon. Are you planning to sell all of this? The clerk's tone instantly became incredibly respectful, his eyes full of shock. Anyone who could casually pull out this many high-tier boss drops at once was definitely no ordinary professional. Just tally up the price, I said calmly, skipping the small talk. The clerk didn't dare waste any time and quickly started calculating, muttering under his breath as he worked. Black Knight's sword, blue tier gear, valued at 80,000 Great Sha gold coins. Demonic dragon scales, 1 set of 10, 20,000 per piece, that's 200,000. Demonic dragon armor, 2 pieces of gold tier gear, 120,000 each, and the dragon bone staff. Sir, the total comes out to 670,000 Great Sha gold coins. Does that work for you? I gave a slight nod. That's fine, transfer it straight to my professional account. The clerk got right to it. A moment later, a system prompt chimed in my head. Ding! Your professional account has received 670,000 Great Sha gold coins. Current balance, 680,000 Great Sha gold coins. Then, I turned and left the Alliance shop. Once I got home, I locked my bedroom door and sat cross-legged on the floor. I couldn't wait to pull up my talent panel. Earlier, when I completed my advancement to Ultimate Mage, I felt a new shift in my talent. It had to be because the gift of the gods had evolved to the second stage. Detected that the host has advanced to the Ultimate Mage class. Strength has massively increased. SSS rank talent, gift of the gods, has reached the second stage. As the system notification faded, my talent panel instantly refreshed. The flowing golden patterns grew much richer, now radiating a faint, divine glow. It looked far more majestic than it did at stage 1. SSS rank talent. Gift of the gods. Stage 2 unlocked. Stage 1 effect unlocked. God's shop. Stage 2 effect unlocked. AFK points exchange. You can now spend Great Shah gold coins to purchase AFK reward points. The exchange rules for idle points are as follows. 10,000 Great Shah gold coins can buy 1 day's worth of idle rewards. With each purchase on the same day, the price increases by 10,000 Great Shah gold coins. The rewards are delivered instantly upon purchase. This stacks with the base idle effects. My eyes lit up. Isn't this newly unlocked Tier 2 feature basically just a pay-to-win system for myself? I used to just passively gain skill points from idling, but now, with enough gold, I can actively buy those idle rewards. It's basically double or even multiple times the regular idle speed. Leveling up my skills will be so much faster now. Staring at the pay-to-win exchange panel unlocked by the blessing of the gods. A golden light flashed in my eyes. I had 680,000 Great Shah gold coins on hand. This was a ready-made fast leveling cheat code. I tapped the panel. I opened the bulk exchange right away, buying 36 days of idle privileges in one go. For a grand total of 660,000 Great Shah gold coins. The very next second, a massive amount of rewards spammed my screen. My account balance instantly dropped to 20,000 gold coins, but I didn't care at all. A little over 3 million skill points, and a 360-point stat boost. It pushed my baseline stats to an absolutely ridiculous level. With the massive amount of skill points left over, I prioritized unlocking the spatial magic, teleportation, and the necromancy magic, summon. I also grabbed the holy light magic for single target healing, group healing, and even the resurrection spell. I was building myself into a maxed out, all-around mage with absolutely zero weaknesses. The profound mysteries of countless magic types flooded my mind. Ice, fire, wind, lightning, earth, darkness, light, and space. I completely mastered all 8 elements. Just by raising my hand, I could draw upon the very source of the world's power. Over the next 2 weeks, I completed the advancement quest to become a high mage. I wiped out a demonic dragon's nest, and smoothly leveled up to level 40. After selling off the monster loot, my personal stash of funds bounced back up to 500,000 gold coins. The 15 days passed in a flash. The Zhangcheng testing zone for the National Awakened College entrance exam was packed and loud. Tens of thousands of candidates were gathered in the testing square. Anxious parents crowded behind the security lines, while dozens of live-stream drones hovered in the sky, broadcasting the event live across all the major national platforms. Inside a temporary studio, the commentators were passionately introducing this year's top candidates. The absolute favorite to take first place in the Zhangcheng zone this year is without a doubt, Zhang Ya, the student who awakened the top-tier class, Spirit Telekinetic. She has already reached level 18 as a junior Spirit Telekinetic, and completed her first tier advancement quest. She is the brightest genius Zhangcheng has seen in a decade. We firmly believe that Zhang Ya will soon achieve her second-class advancement. Aside from her, we also have Zhao Lei, who awakened the rare Berserker class. He's an incredibly strong contender as well. He's currently level 15, rocking top-tier pay-to-win gear. Rumor has it that the Imperial Capital Martial Arts University already has their eyes on him. The livestream chat was full of people agreeing. Occasionally, a few comments about me drifted across the screen, but they were all mocking me. Oh, whatever, don't forget about that former number 1 of Zhangcheng. You mean Lin Chen, the weakest mage in history? I wonder if he's just gonna drop out of the exam today. Hilarious. If he can even pass the first round, I'll eat my keyboard on a livestream. He's a piece of trash who couldn't even light a mosquito coil. I can't believe Goddess Zhang Ya actually encouraged him. She must be blind. Meanwhile, I was hiding in the crowd, wearing a baseball cap, with my hands shoved in my pockets. I watched those mocking comments roll by, my face completely expressionless. Lin Chen, a crisp voice called out from behind me. Su Qing ran over holding a small cloth bag, her cheeks flushed red from running. She shoved the bag into my hands. These are all the high-tier healing potions I managed to save up. And some mana potions, along with a few teleport scrolls. If you run into any danger, you have to use them right away. She looked up at me, and I took the cloth bag. My heart felt a little warm. Don't worry, no one can hurt me. Su Qing wanted to say something else, but the entrance announcement was already playing over the speakers. Let's go, we can talk inside. I patted her on the shoulder and took the lead toward the exam entrance. But just as we got there, we were blocked by Zhao Lei and his gang. Zhao Lei was wearing a set of flashy, shining diamond armor. Carrying a massive axe, he had a mocking smirk on his face. Well, if it isn't our weakest mage. I can't believe you actually had the guts to show up for the exam. I figured you'd be hiding at home, too scared to come out. His lackeys burst into loud laughter. Boss Lei, if you run into him in the arena, don't just chop him to death with one swing. Leave him hanging by a thread so he has to beg and forfeit. Yeah, otherwise people might say we're bullying the trash. Su Qing was trembling with anger. She stepped in front of me to shield me. Zhao Lei, you're going way too far. Su Qing, why are you always protecting this piece of garbage? Zhao Lei sneered, his eyes sweeping over me with utter contempt. A mage who can't even cast a simple fireball is just going to be free kills in the arena. I suggest you get the hell out of here right now, before you end up wetting your pants when you see a monster. You're just an embarrassment to Zhongcheng. I couldn't be bothered to waste my breath on him. I grabbed Su Qing's hand, walked right past him, and headed straight into the exam corridor. Zhao Lei stared at my back, his eyes turning dark and sinister. Just you wait, you're gonna suffer in that arena. All the candidates were randomly teleported to a virtual exam map spanning 100 kilometers in radius. The rules for the test were incredibly simple. You had 6 hours to hunt down monsters across the map and earn points. Scoring 100 points would guarantee your advancement, and the more points you got, the higher your rank would be. Killing a level 1 monster gave you 1 point. A level 10 monster gave you 10 points. And so on. Taking down a boss level monster would double your points. A flash of white light blinded me, and I suddenly appeared deep inside a dense forest. Before I could even find my footing, 3 level 5 wild wolves lunged right at me. With just a single thought, 3 sharp ice spikes materialized out of thin air, piercing straight through the wolves' skulls with deadly precision. 3 level 5 wild wolves killed. 15 points awarded. I didn't stick around. I immediately deployed my wings of wind, and flew straight toward the deepest part of the map. It was marked in red as a highly dangerous zone, crawling with high-tier monsters above level 30. It was a strict no-go area for all candidates. Meanwhile, on the giant screens back at the exam command center, the live rankings and scores of every candidate were being broadcasted. Zhang Ya was leading the pack. She had already taken out over a dozen monsters around level 20, pushing her score well past 200 points. She was sitting comfortably in first place. Zhao Lei was trailing right behind her, teaming up with his lackeys to farm monsters. He was sitting at over 150 points. The commentators were going wild. Zhang Ya's efficiency is absolutely off the charts. Psychic is truly one of the fastest classes for farming. At this crazy pace, she might actually shatter the all-time scoring record for the Zhongcheng testing zone. And Zhao Lei is doing incredibly well, too. A berserker's melee damage is just incredibly brutal, and his squad's teamwork is flawless. But right at that moment, the leaderboard on the massive screen. Suddenly, the numbers started jumping wildly. Ling Chen killed a level 30 Tiger King. Gained 1,000 points. Ling Chen killed a level 35 Scorpion King. Gained 1,100 points. Ling Chen killed a level 35 Bear King. Gained 1,100 points. A whole string of notifications frantically spammed the screen. My points skyrocketed at a terrifying speed, instantly blasting right past Zhang Ya. The entire command center instantly went dead silent. The commentator's jaw hit the floor. Did the system glitch out? Quick, run a check. No glitch. The surveillance footage shows he flew straight into the red danger zone. He instantly killed the Tiger King with a single, casual fireball. The staff pulled up the live feed. On the screen, I was floating right there in midair. With just a light tap of my finger, a golden fireball dropped down. The level 30 Tiger King didn't even have time to let out a single scream before it was instantly turned into a pile of ash. On the other side of the map, Zhang Ya, who was busy farming monsters, also noticed the massive shift on the leaderboard. He completely froze in his tracks. His eyes were filled with absolute disbelief. Ling Chen is in first place? He always thought that no matter how hard I tried, I would barely even manage to pass. But right now, my score was already more than 10 times his. And it was still climbing like crazy. An unprecedented wave of defeat washed over him. He bit his lip hard, tightly gripped his telekinetic blade, and started farming monsters even more desperately. Meanwhile, when Zhao Lei saw the leaderboard, he was so furious he slammed his giant axe straight into the ground. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible, how the hell could that piece of trash be better than me? He definitely cheated. The lackeys around him just stared at each other in shock. Boss Lei, why don't we go check out the red zone? Maybe he's just stealing kills from bosses that other people already beat. Yeah, you're right, let's go. We're gonna expose his true colors. Zhao Lei's eyes suddenly lit up, and with his gang of lackeys in tow, he charged straight toward the red danger zone. Half an hour later, I was busy clearing out a pack of level 35 snakes, when Zhao Lei's voice suddenly rang out from behind me. Ling Chen, you stop right there. I turned around, looking calmly at a heavily panting Zhao Lei and his crew. I spoke flatly, what do you want? You cheated, Zhao Lei roared, pointing his finger right at my face. You're just a trash mage. How the hell could you kill so many high-level bosses? You must have used some dirty, underhanded tricks. I'm going to report you. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, and exactly how did I cheat? You definitely bribed the testing system's staff beforehand. Otherwise, there is absolutely no way you could pull this off. Zhao Lei spat through gritted teeth. Today, I'm going to deliver some justice. I'm kicking your cheating ass right off the exam map. With that, he raised his massive axe and charged straight at me, his lackeys right behind him. Don't, Su Qing's voice screamed from a short distance away. She had just arrived, and seeing this unfold, her face went completely pale from fear. But I simply raised my hand. Instantly, a massive wall of rock erupted from the ground, blocking Zhao Lei's path. He couldn't stop his momentum in time, and slammed headfirst right into the rock wall, instantly giving himself a black eye and a bloody nose. The lackeys trailing behind him tripped hard over the earth spikes that suddenly shot up, tumbling over themselves in a dizzy mess. Zhao Lei groaned, clutching his bleeding nose. He stared at me in disbelief. I slowly spoke up, my voice ice cold. I just don't want to waste my breath on idiots. Before I even finished speaking, countless blades materialized out of thin air. They flew straight toward Zhao Lei and his group. The blades didn't take their lives. Instead, they precisely sliced through their armor, shredding their gear to absolute pieces. Then, a gentle gust of wind swept them up, tossing them right out of the red danger zone, landing them straight at the entrance of the exam map. Examinee Zhao Lei and his teammates initiated an attack on other examinees. Violating exam rules, all points deducted, exam qualifications revoked. The system notification rang out. On the giant screen, Zhao Lei's name instantly vanished from the leaderboard. The entire command center erupted into an uproar once again. Oh my god, he just casually tossed Zhao Lei and his crew out. How the hell is he the weakest mage? He's clearly a hidden boss. Those who mocked him earlier just got a massive slap in the face. Su Qing ran up to me, her eyes sparkling brightly as she looked at me. Lingchen, you are absolutely amazing. Right at that moment, all the examinees were suddenly teleported to the plaza. The world instantly lost its color. The once bright and clear sky was instantly covered by an eerie, ashen blackness. A bone-chilling wind whipped up out of nowhere, carrying a heavy stench of death. Above the exam plaza, a massive spatial rift, 1,000 meters long, tore open with a deafening roar. Dark green, corrosive liquid constantly dripped from the crack, hitting the ground and instantly eating away bottomless craters. What is that? Oh my god, a spatial rift. It's an otherworldly invasion. The crowd instantly exploded into panic. Screams and terrified cries echoed one after another. The live broadcast shook violently. The commentator's voice trembled with tears. Emergency, an unknown spatial rift has appeared above the Zhongcheng exam zone. Suspected otherworldly invasion. The very next second, the live feeds across every city in the country displayed the exact same terrifying scene. Above the capital city, a demon lord, burning in hellfire, broke free from its cocoon. Across the European continent, a vampire prince descended, leading an endless army of bloodsuckers. In the Amazon rainforest, towering ancient trees twisted into hideous tree ants, blotting out the sun. In the far northern tundras, frost giants that had been frozen for 10,000 years awakened, letting out deafening roars. A global otherworldly invasion had erupted without any warning whatsoever. From the spatial rift above Zhongcheng, countless black-robed liches slowly flew out, riding atop skeletal warhorses. They gently waved their bone staffs, and on the ground, dense swarms of skeletons and ghouls crawled out, Leading them was a 3-meter-tall lich wearing a crown of ice crystals. Pale blue frost swirled all around him. Wherever his chill passed, the very air froze into solid ice crystals. A level 100 quasi-legendary powerhouse. Caesar, the Frost Lich. He was the vanguard general of this otherworldly invasion, commanding an army of 100,000 liches. Tremble, you pathetic natives. Caesar's voice, sounding like shattering ice, echoed throughout all of Zhangcheng. My lord's glory shall shroud this land. Anyone who resists will become our food. Before his words even faded, he raised a hand and waved. A frost torrent, 100 meters wide, swept right toward the exam plaza. Wherever it passed, all the buildings and trees, even the candidates who couldn't run away in time, were instantly frozen into ice statues. Hurry, activate the city's defense barrier. Send a distress signal to headquarters, right now. Zhang Taishu let out a furious roar and shot straight into the sky. The magic staff in his hand erupted with a blinding light. All the high-level experts of the Zhangcheng Professionals Alliance took to the air one after another, unleashing their strongest magic and skills, desperately trying to hold back the torrent of frost. Boom, a violent crash echoed out. Zhang Taishu coughed up a mouthful of blood and was sent flying backward. He crashed heavily onto the ground. President Zhang, Duan De and Wang Teng rushed over to catch him, their faces filled with absolute despair. A level 100 quasi-legendary powerhouse. This completely shatters the power cap of all our forces in Zhangcheng. They went all out, but couldn't even block a single one of his strikes. Caesar let out a cold sneer, and raised his hand once again. Pathetic, since you all have such a death wish, I'll be happy to grant it. An even more terrifying frost energy began gathering in his palm. This time, he was going to freeze the entire testing plaza, along with the tens of thousands of candidates inside. Completely into solid ice, Zhang Ya's face turned deadly pale. She used every ounce of her strength to project a telekinetic shield, desperately shielding Su Qing and a few other candidates behind her. But deep down, she knew that this flimsy little shield was no better than wet paper against the attack of a quasi-legendary powerhouse. Su Qing tightly gripped her holy light staff, tears streaming down her face uncontrollably. Instinctively, she looked out into the crowd, searching for that familiar figure. She had only one thought in her mind: Lin Chen, run away. Just as the torrent of frost was about to crash down at the final second, a perfectly calm voice echoed crystal clear across the entire plaza. I said, stop. I slowly stepped out from the crowd. I had no earth-shattering aura, no flashy magic effects, but the very second those words left my mouth, that devastating torrent of frost, capable of wiping out the whole plaza, actually froze right in midair. Then, it shattered inch by inch, turning into a sky full of glittering ice crystals. The entire plaza fell dead silent. Everyone just stared at me in absolute shock, including Caesar, hovering up in the sky. Who the hell are you? Caesar's voice carried a hint of deep caution. He could sense that this seemingly ordinary teenager standing before him was hiding a terrifying power that made even his own heart pound. I didn't answer him. I just slowly raised my right hand. Summon. Bone dragons. 3 massive black shadows crashed down from the sky. 3 bone dragons, each 100 meters long, let out deafening roars, completely blocking out the sky right above the testing plaza. They opened their massive jaws, spewing out pitch-black dragon breath, instantly turning the thousands of skeleton soldiers charging at the front lines into mere ash. Bone dragons? Zhang Taishu's eyes went wide, his body unable to stop trembling. The forbidden spell explosion in the demonic beast forest. The undead knights wiped out in an instant at Blackwind Fortress. The mutated demonic dragon burned to ashes in Blackstone Canyon. In that moment, all the clues finally clicked together. So it turns out, the mysterious Grand Magus he had been desperately searching for over the past month was never some reclusive master at all. This guy right in front of them, the one everyone had been mocking for a whole month. The so-called weakest mage in history. An all-element mage. Interesting. Caesar's eyes narrowed. But you think you can stop my army of 100,000 with just these 3 bags of bones? How naive. He waved his hand. The Lich army behind him launched their attack all at once. Countless ice spikes, shadow arrows, and death rays rained down on me like a storm. A cold smirk crept up the corner of my mouth. Flame strike, raging purple lightning, blade windstorm, earth shatter. In one breath, I unleashed 4 max-level area of effect spells. A golden sea of fire, purple lightning, razor-sharp wind blades, and collapsing earth erupted simultaneously right in the middle of the Lich army. Screams echoed one after another. Tens of thousands of liches and undead creatures couldn't even last a single second before turning into flying ash. In just 10 seconds, I wiped out half of the 100,000-strong Lich army. The remaining liches were scared out of their minds, not daring to take another step forward. They frantically turned around, trying to flee back into the spatial rift. Trying to run? I scoffed coldly, raising my hand toward the spatial rift in the sky. An explosive golden sea of fire instantly engulfed the entire space. The temperature of the rift soared to tens of thousands of degrees. Those liches trying to escape back into it, along with the rift itself, were completely burned to ashes by the sea of fire. Caesar was the only one left in the sky. He looked down at the ash-covered ground, then looked at me. His eyes were filled with absolute disbelief and sheer terror. He could never have imagined that a mighty level 100 semi-legendary powerhouse like himself, leading an invasion of 100,000 troops, would be completely annihilated by a teenage boy. Who the hell are you? Caesar's voice was trembling. Someone you can't afford to mess with. I slowly raised my right hand, mana gathering madly at my fingertips. Divine retribution. A beam of golden divine lightning, piercing through heaven and earth, struck down from the sky. It landed right on Caesar's head with pinpoint accuracy. He didn't even have time to let out a scream. Along with his ice crystal crown and bone staff, he was instantly reduced to the purest form of energy, dissipating into the air. Even his soul was completely obliterated by the divine lightning, doomed to never be reincarnated. Zhong City was saved. With Caesar's death, the grayish-black clouds hanging over Zhong City gradually scattered. Sunlight fell upon the earth once again. Dead silence filled the exam plaza. Tens of thousands of people stood frozen in place, staring blankly at the teenage boy standing in the center of the plaza. Their eyes were brimming with awe and absolute worship. What happened in those short few minutes had completely shattered their understanding of reality. One person holding off an army of 100,000 liches. One shotting a level 100 semi-legendary powerhouse. How was this the weakest mage? This was clearly a god walking among us. Su Qing was the first to snap out of it. Tears streaming down her face, she threw herself into my arms, hugging me tightly, as if I would disappear the moment she let go. Lin Chen, I knew it. I just knew you would save me. I gently patted her back, soothing her. There, it's okay now. It's all over. Zhang Taishu walked over, bringing Duanda and Wang Teng with him. He bowed deeply to me. Thank you for stepping in to save us, Lord Lin Chen. The millions of souls in Zhong City are eternally grateful. All the awakened professionals, all the examinees bowed in unison. Thank you, Lord Lin Chen. Their voices were deafening, echoing throughout the entire Zhong City. Not far away, Zhang Ya stood in the crowd. She looked at me, surrounded by the masses, her eyes filled with an incredibly complex emotion. She used to think she was the chosen one, the most dazzling genius in Zhong City. She always saw me as a target to chase, even dreaming of beating me just once in the national exams. But now, she finally understood. The gap between us was already worlds apart. We were never even in the same world to begin with. Meanwhile, I looked at the talent panel that just refreshed in my mind. Ding! Detected that the host has killed a quasi-legendary powerhouse, triple S-tier talent, gift of the gods, has completed its 3rd tier advancement. Tier 3 unlocks Godhead Fragment Collection. Killing legendary creatures grants Godhead Fragments. Collect 100 fragments to forge a Godhead and ascend to a true God. New feature alert. The Divine Store. God tier skills and artifact exchange privileges have been unlocked. Newly added. Alternate dimension coordinate tracking. I stared at the new features on the panel, a sharp glint flashing in my eyes. This dimensional invasion was just the beginning. Caesar was nothing but a vanguard. Behind him stood even more powerful gods from other dimensions. They were glaring hungrily at our world. But that didn't matter. They might have an endless army of millions, but I have my idle godhood system. As long as I have enough time, forget about those pathetic dimensional gods. Even if it's all the gods across the entire multiverse, I will eventually crush every single one of them beneath my feet. Outside the window, the setting sun dyed half the sky blood red. The national professional exams were forced to a halt because of the global dimensional invasion. But a much grander war had only just begun, and I, the weakest mage who once couldn't even light a mosquito coil, will become one of the guardian deities of this world.